Hey there, let's talk cash. Cash to do with your website. Who doesn't want to talk about that? But I don't mean money. I'm really talking about storage, temporary storage of files that help your website load more quickly on local computers. What I want to tell you about that today is where they're located, why we use them, and when we might want to flush them down the toilet and start all over again. How to make good decisions around that. So let's get started. Okay, so what is a cache? It's a local temporary storing of files that are helpful for uploading your website quickly to local computers. And what I mean by that are all the fonts, all the scripts that you've got running for layout, all the photo assets, colors, the text itself, and everything that's associated with loading your website right. In order to do that quickly, and we know that we want to do that, Google's latest update is showing us that we really want that load speed to be down around 2 seconds, maybe 2.5 seconds. Remember, they're telling us that moving from 2 second load speed to 3 second load speed means we're missing 35% of our traffic. 35% of people will abandon a website for loading at 3 seconds now. So, what we're trying to do is make that load speed as fast as possible. So, how do we do that? One of the ways is that we use caching systems. Now, cache happens in a lot of different places. It does happen on a local computer. Every internet browser has a cache of some temporary files that get delivered. So, if someone sat down at their computer at their home and they've typed in your website address and it's loaded up to their computer once, the next time it loads up, it is going to happen faster just by their local machine and what's happening in their browser. However, you can make that work faster even if someone hasn't loaded your website before by using third-party cache systems or caching systems that your hosting provider uses. So one of the hosts that we use is WPX. You can find them at WPX.net. They do have a caching system and a cloud storage of your server. So let's just say that you have uploaded a lot of files to your website. Again, we're talking about layout, photos, documents, fonts, and the actual text itself. All of that, those are files that get uploaded to your website host server. Let's say that server is located in California. If someone in North Carolina types in your website address at their local computer, it has to call out to California and say, hey, we need the files associated with this website, and then has to travel back from California to North Carolina. Now, those things happen in seconds, but every second is important. So, one of the things that WPX does is use a content delivery network or a CDN. All that does is that has a cloud server that has the storage of your files located closer to the end user. So as an example, I can just share quickly my screen here, and it has this funny image of me. I'm going to change that over to just be the website screen because my image is frozen there. But what WPX does is has a CDN, and these are the locations of their CDN that might be closer to the end user than where their original server is located. So, as an example, for someone out in North Carolina, there's a server located, a cloud server located in Atlanta, Georgia. All that means is that there is it's got your website files in that location that can be served up very quickly to places that are closer to people in North Carolina or in Georgia or out on the East Coast. And so you can activate that content delivery network or the third party caching system within your website host itself if you're using something like a WPX. The other thing that they even encourage you to use is another caching system on top of theirs for very dynamic sites, especially places like e-commerce. And we use these across the board on websites that we work on and do maintenance on just to make sure that all of those elements are quickly served up to your clients. And that's something like WP Rocket, which is one that we use regularly, and WPX will also refer people to W3 cache system. We love WP Rocket, and they're coming out with some new things that are going to specifically work for the Core Web Vitals and Google algorithm rollouts that have just been happening in June that will continue to roll out through August. So we're very excited about what's coming their way to make things even faster, but we do use that third-party system on all of our websites, and we encourage our users to do that as well, even if they don't use us for service or maintenance. So the third piece of that is that there are also files located and cached within each of the applications that are used to build your website. So as an example, I'll show you on the screen again. We've got this test website that we like to play around with, and our Beaver Builder has its own cache. So you can find that in the if you go to your WordPress dashboard, head to settings, go down to Beaver Builder, and then click tools, you'll see that this has a caching system of its own. You can clear the cache here. And there are other applications that have this same capability. So all of these different locations, the application, your web host, third-party caching tools, the local browser, and the local machine where someone is trying to pull up your internet, they are all having caching systems that they're using. So what does that mean? Number one, it means that your website might load up super fast. But the other part of that is if you've made an update to your website, you might not see it immediately. And we've told you to make sure that if you don't, you go in and you're using an incognito window to see if the changes are actually working. And all that is doing is sort of running around the cache system that is on your local machine as well as on your internet browser. But let's say that once you pop into that incognito browser, that you're still not seeing the updates that you made to your website. What could be happening is the changes are hung up in the cache somewhere along that line of whether it's a third-party caching system and that CDN network, a CDN network that your website host is using, or one of the application caches that are hanging a change up along the way. You can go in and clear out all of those caching systems. So I'll just hop right back in to show you how you would do that with WPX. You go into your website to manage it, click on the WPX cloud, and then you can see right here, you can empty the cache at the website host. That will clear out all of those CDNs that are located at these locations. You would also have the availability to do that with a third-party caching system like WP Rocket. So that will have the availability for you to clear a cache in their system so that nothing old is hanging out in their CDN locations. And then the third thing that you can do is clear the cache in the settings in your WordPress dashboard for the applications that you're using. Now, before you get trigger happy and start clearing the cache all over the board, we like to use this cache clearing system only with major updates, or if there's something that's happening that is not displaying correctly, or there's a user customer experience problem on the back end. So a lot of times what this might look like is if you've rolled out a new product and you're ready to get people buying right away, you might want to clear the cache if it's not showing up whenever you're looking at that in an incognito browser. The other thing might be that you've gotten an update from one of your plugins and you've hit the update button, but there are some display problems that are happening because, or some bug fixes that are happening with that update that you're not seeing whenever you go and look at your website. Then you might want to start clearing the cache. The reason that you don't want to just hit that clear the cache button all the time is because that will mean that it clears out all the storage of those temporary files, and it will take longer for the website to load for the end user. So just remember that the cache does speed up that delivery of your website load speed, which is really important for making sure you're capturing all of that traffic. Again, just going back to the data that Google is sharing with us, from 2 to 3 seconds, if it takes your website 1 second longer than 2 seconds, so from 2 to 3 seconds, you're losing 35% of your traffic. And that's just such a huge number. I keep harping on it, but I cannot afford to lose 35% of my traffic. And so clearing the cache might bump that load speed time up. And you just want to be careful and strategic about when you use it. But if you've made a major update, you've rolled out a big product, and you've looked at the website in an incognito window and that still does not show the updates, that might be time to clear the cache. Just remember that you might lose some of that traffic if you clear the cache and it takes longer for your website to load. All right, that's it for the cache today. I will be back to you on Friday, giving you more tips, tools, and tricks to easily work with your website. I'm Tina Smith, and I'm here to make complicated website stuff feel easy so that you can solve the right problems, grow good business, and get the online results you've always wanted. Hey, talk to you Friday. Bye-bye.